Welcome to the happy world of Huell Howser. Tonight, Huell's guests include the Hartsville Hot Rodder, the Smithville Santa, the Lewisburg Crowers, Freddie the Fish, along with a multitude of crazy, fun-loving folk Huell calls his friends. And featuring a special guest, Miss Rebecca and Ms. Rosa.
The Happy World of Huell Howser is brought to you by Commerce Union Bank. Commerce Union is open now and forever. The 724 Total Banker is now operating 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Okay, let's get seated. Are we in?
We're in.
Watch out for all these wires. They're everywhere. What do you think about these rocking chairs, Miss Young?
Oh, they're great. I'm just going to sit here and rock all my troubles away.
They're better than tranquilizers,
Oh,
aren't they?
these are much better than tranquilizers. This is great.
Miss Bledsoe, you know a song about these rocking chairs.
Oh, I tell you, it's just so great to be sitting here rocking. I just thinking, rocking alone in an old rocking chair.
Why aren't you singing along
Why
with
didn't
her?
you sing along
Oh,
with
I
me?
can't sing.
Harmonize.
Okay, now that we've gotten the singing out of the way for the night, I think we're going to hear from you later on. Let's talk about something serious for a minute while we're sitting here rocking.
Fine.
Now, the number one topic today on a lot of people's mind is the gas shortage. Has that affected y'all any?
Well, so far I've been able to get, as you see, I got up here tonight by my good friend, Mr. and Ms. Williams. I thank the Lord for that. But I hope my taxi driver down there don't run out of gas. If he did, maybe I couldn't get anywhere.
What about you, Miss Young?
Oh, I just go everywhere I want to go. And gas is all right with me.
Hadn't bothered you at all?
Not a bit.
Okay, now let me tell you about another lady I know. Very nice lady. She's 92 years old. She lives in Hartsville, Tennessee. Her name is Mrs. Hattie Lyle, and she's had the gas shortage problem solved for years.
Lyles, how long have you had this little electric car?
14 years.
Now, why did you decide to get an electric cart instead of using a regular car?
Well, I saw these in California, and so that's why I decided to get it. I saw them, and a lot of old people in Long Beach they were just thick. People go there, Long Beach, to play games, old people. And they're just so many everywhere than in California.
Now, is it hard to drive one of these things?
Not a bit. Just anybody could drive them, could hold them in the road.
Really, they're a lot easier to drive than a regular car, aren't they?
Yes, a lot. Just one little turn takes you on another street. And you don't have to do a lot of turning.
Now, how fast can you go in this car?
Well, you go trouble fast when you're on level ground. I don't know just how much downhill, but when you start uphill, it slows down, but it goes on up. And that brake, now over at the grocery, there's a bank to back up. And I back up on that bank and put the brake on, and it holds till I change to drive.
Now, I understand you've had this cart for 14 years, and you've never had to change the tires on it.
No, never have had.
Now, how do you keep this thing charged up and going?
Well, I charge it. Charger comes with it, and I keep it charged.
You just plug it in just like
Plug it in, and let it. It'll click off when it gets thoroughly charged.
Is it very expensive to keep it charged?
No. I never have noticed my bill running up at all.
Mrs. Lyles, what do you think all the children like so much about riding in this little car?
Well, they all love it because it's just different, I think, from the other cars. Not long ago, I invited a couple, and they had two daughters, and one of the little girls told her mother, said, I want to ride home. I invited them to come to dinner, and I want to ride with Miss Hattie in the car. I said, well, all right, I'm just glad to have you. And during the vacation Bible school one year, I used to go and get them, and I'd put 4 in the back and 2 on the seat with me, and carry them to vacation Bible school.
This is the only car like this around these parts, isn't it?
Yes, everybody, when I first got it, why, they just, when you'd pass somebody, they'd just look and look.
Never seen one before.
And this year, they've been putting more rooms on the courthouse. And once I was in town and drove around that way, and they all just quit work and stood in a row and looked at the car.
So you've got quite a conversation piece here with this little car.
Yes.
So Miss Hattie Lyle up in Hartsville, Tennessee, look there, she's opening up some eyes driving that car around. What do y'all think about that?
That's great.
I think it's wonderful.
You think you
At her
could drive a
age-
car like
Yeah,
that?
I believe I could one like that. I'd like to have one.
Y'all drive now?
I don't. I quit long time. Almost went in a ditch one time. Mr. Bledsoe hollered, look out. I got out.
That looks like the first golf cart, don't you think it
Yeah, and
was?
she hadn't had to change her tires in 14 years. She plugs it in the wall socket to recharge it every night.
If the gas keeps on the shortage like this, we'll have to have one of those.
That's right. She said her electric bill last month was $3. So that isn't too bad, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh,
bad,
that's
no.
great.
Okay, we want to talk about something now that I think you all will be interested in. You know, it seems like they're always handing out awards and plaques and medals and certificates to people all the time. But every once in a while, you know, you'll think of somebody who didn't get an award who deserves one. Y'all know people like that, don't you? Well, tonight, thanks to a man in Smithville, Tennessee named Austin Green who told me about this story, we're going to pass out an award right here on the Happy World of Huell Howser to a man who really deserves it. Now, he lives the commandment, do unto others, every day. He literally lives it. His name is TOJO Whitefield. He's 68 years old. He lives in Smithville, Tennessee, and he loves children.
Phil, now what is it you do every day with these children here in Smithville?
Well, I'm good to them, talk to them about doing the right thing. I'll give them chewing gum. I've bought them pencils, tablets, paper to go into school. And I see them nearly every day or every other day, and I'm with them. I'll stop and talk with them just like they're my own children.
Now, how many miles a day do you figure you walk to see these children?
Well, I imagine some way out on McMahon Road and back on Cooper Road, some around 5 and 6 miles there.
5 and 6 miles a day?
Well, not every day, but it's pretty well, I'll say 2 to 3 days a week.
How many children do you see on these walks?
Well, now that'd be hard for me to say. There'd be lots of them.
Lots of them. Have you ever tried to count them all?
I've counted up to 180.
180?
Yeah.
Now, what do you have in your sack here today? What kind of things would you give them?
Well, I got bananas, 3 different kinds of cookies, big packet. And I got candy and chewing gum.
They like that candy, don't
And a stick, and that stick candy.
Why do you do this?
Well, because I love the people that's in the world and love the children too. I taught that, my daddy and mother, to be good to them as they growed up. Then I would have no trouble at all with the generation of the world.
Does it make you feel good to do this with the children?
More than good, makes me feel happy to think that you're good to them. And when you're raised up that way, then you teach the others that's coming up that way. Then if you was to get out and get hurt or anything happened to you, they take care of you. And if you're mean to them, they pass by and never say nothing.
And you think this kind of makes them happy too, doesn't it?
Absolutely, it does. and make them, you know, do anything for you in the right way.
It's kind of like do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Unto you. That's right.
And that works too, doesn't it?
It sure does. Now, that's the truth of everything.
So Mr. TOJO Whitefield walks those 5 or 6 miles several times a week, passing out candy and pencils and bananas and love to literally hundreds of children. A living example of doing unto others. And he has that smile on his face that comes from way down deep inside.
Listen, I feel funny calling you Miss Rebecca. It's not showing enough respect.
Everybody calls me Miss Rebecca, so that's all right. You can too.
It's all right.
Yeah, and they call my husband Mr. Rebecca.
But what does he think about that?
He doesn't mind.
They call your husband Mr. Rebecca.
Mr. Rebecca.
Now, can I call you Miss Rosa?
You may if you want to, but I prefer just say Rosa. That makes me feel too old, and I don't feel old.
Okay, Miss Rebecca and Rosa.
Rosa.
Let me ask you something. Is your husband a fisherman?
Oh, yes.
What about yours?
Mine was. He's deceased now, but he was a fisherman.
Did he ever tell any tall tales about fishing?
Well, he and his brother-in-law went down in West Palm Beach to a lake down there fishing, and he told the tale that he caught one so big he had to call his brother-in-law to help roll the thing out or whatever you do. Said the thing fought so hard he began to think he's going to have a heart attack there on the bank.
You didn't believe him, did you?
I didn't believe a word of it, but I'll tell you, I thought, well, one day we went up on the, I went to the lake, went up on the bridge, and I was sitting there just so relaxed and throwed my line out, and I wasn't thinking about, now this is a tall tale, but it's truth. So something snapped my line, but he almost pulled me off of the bridge, and it hadn't been for my husband catching me. Now that's a tall tale.
Now, do you believe that? I don't believe that.
Well, I'd have went in the water.
Okay, that's enough tall tales from you. Now, we've got a story about a tall tale.
Good.
The man who told me this tall tale, he caught this fish. He's a dentist here in Nashville. He's also a big fisherman. His name is Dr. Benton Neal, and if you think you've ever heard a tall fishing tale, just listen to this one.
First, I better tell you that I am a dentist, and my specialty is making dentures. But since a little boy, I've always enjoyed fishing, and I'm sort of a hillbilly at nature. And I have an old country fishing friend. I won't tell his name because he's connected with this, and it'd embarrass him, you know, but his first name is Hollis. And I made Hollis some dentures, and he was just these bib overall type, and couldn't pay me anything, but I used to take him fishing. And on this particular trip, Hollis always liked to have a few beers, and he got a few too many this time, and we were fishing down in Cheatham Lake, and it was rough, the wind blowing, and he got sick at his stomach, you know, the boat rocking and this beer too, and he couldn't control it, and you know how when you get sick sometimes your stomach's just naturally emptied, whether you want to or not, and he lost his teeth over the side of the boat. This is up one of the little tributaries down there. Well, we went on back to town, and later I made Hollis some more teeth. But this summer, now this happened last year that I'm telling you about, but this summer I went fishing in the same area, and man, I got a strike that nearly jerked me out of the boat, and I never had such a fish. I knew I had a monster, and when I wound that thing in finally and got it in the boat, it was snapping its teeth and popping and got a couple of buttons off my bib overalls. Man, I've never seen such a fish. And when I tried to string him, he had Hollis's teeth in his mouth, believe it or not.
I guess this is what you'd call a largemouth bass.
A largemouth bass, and it looks like to me he might even be a man-eater.
Does he look anything like Hollis?
Well, when he smiles.
Have y'all ever seen, look at that on the have you ever seen anything like this before?
No, I've never seen anything like that.
8.5 pound fish with false teeth right in there. What do you think about that tale?
Oh, I think that's a real,
That's the wildest tale
yeah,
I've heard.
that just beats them all.
I think we better put the fish down here and forget about that, don't y'all? Okay, let's go from fish, a logical progression or digression or whatever you want to call it, to fleas. Are y'all big flea market fans?
Oh, I love to go to flea markets.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you like about flea markets?
Oh,
you buy a lot or just
all
look?
the junk.
No, it's antiques.
Oh,
now.
excuse me.
What about you?
Well, I love it too, and I've got a house full of antiques down there, and I'm a rock collector too on top of that.
So you get the rocks at the flea markets too?
Yeah, and just anywhere I can get them. I've got real agate that came from down in Mexico, and I just gather rocks and fossils. I love everything like that. I've got a house full of it and a basement full of antiques.
Okay.
And I'm antique.
You're an antique too.
The cutest thing I ever saw at a flea market was an old man reading the paper, sitting behind the counter, his display. And he had a sign saying, "If I have to listen to what your grandmother had in her house, it's a extra $1.
Okay, now listen.
You know, everybody says, "Oh, my grandma had one like that." You know?
That's right. That's right. Now tonight, I've got a story for you about a flea market in Lewisburg, Tennessee. Now watch this.
The square down in Lewisburg is jam-packed with people and their trucks and their tents and their stands all day every Thursday. Now they come from all around, some from other states, to swap and buy and trade. Dealing only in antiques, you understand. No junk is allowed. Now there's no one as dedicated as a real flea market fan, and I was fortunate enough to talk with some of them about their antiques. Now, why do you come down here every week?
Well, trying to sell what stuff's on the place to get rid of it.
You're trying to get rid of some stuff that you can't get rid of any other way.
Yes, I'm through farming and I don't need this stuff.
You had many customers today?
No, there's several locals, no buyers.
What kind of things do you have here for them to buy if they wanted to?
I have a couple of hay loading wheels, lawnmower.
A push lawnmower, though.
Push lawnmower, a nursing bucket.
This is a nursing bucket?
Yes.
How does that thing work?
Put your milk in here and the calves suck that.
That's
like
a used milk and nursing bucket, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's all that wood over there you got?
That's whittling wood.
Whittling wood?
Yes.
Is that a special kind of wood?
Cedar, red cedar. People like to whittle, you know, and I sell it 5 cents a stick, 5 sticks in a bundle for a quarter.
You make much money doing this?
Ain't made none.
Mr. Bone, it looks to me like you have emptied your junkyard into the back of your truck here today.
I have 2 or 3 others.
What sort of things have you got here today?
Oh, I got everything from buggy seats to old car lights off a T model.
Now, what would somebody want with an old buggy seat?
Well, I always work on the philosophy, you know, that there's always somebody crazier than I am. I'm looking for him. I'll find him today.
What is this thing down here?
Sheep shears, man. That I've turned and cranked many one of these things. And that's, if this had oil, it would work now. See, it turns.
All you need is some oil and some sheep.
Right, sheep, and I could have it made. I'd cut some of these people's hair.
Listen, you don't really think you're going to sell this thing here today, do you?
I hope so. Yeah. Sell it cheap enough. I sell it cheap.
Now, how long y'all been in the flea market business?
About 4 or 5 years.
How'd you get started in it?
Well, I don't know. We just got retired and got to dealing in it.
Got fleas on us, could never stop to get them off. If you ever go to one and get fleas all over you, into it right there.
It is?
It's catching. It sure
What do you like so much about it?
Well, just meeting people and dealing with them and having a good time.
Do you ever get the best of them when you make these deals?
Sometimes. I sure do.
What kind of things you got in the back of your truck?
I've got a T-model wheel, old wooden spoke wheel, that I have rode in years ago just like that, an old T-model with a wooden spoke wheel.
Is she telling the truth?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I sure have. I've been here a while. You know that? And so I don't know. I just got jars, bottles, antique jars. And
they're all antiques.
Knives.
They're all antiques.
Yeah, they're all antiques. And these pocket knives. I enjoy this.
What'd you say now?
I said she was too.
She's an antique.
Child, they tell me I'm the oldest knife dealer, oldest woman knife dealer in Lewisburg. Now, I don't know.
Now, how did she get so good at dealing in knives?
I don't know.
You
She
have
just took
to
it away
learn.
from me.
Hey, listen, child, you have to learn. You got to have knowledge to learn this stuff.
I learned by experience. Better than learning it out of a book.
Now, what kind of knives you got in there today?
I
They
got
all
some of
do.
these hand-over knives with 2 double X's on them. I've got a Coca-Cola knife with a green Coca-Cola bottle on it, and I've got some pretty good ones, but not as good as I've had. I sell out once in a while. I don't hold nothing. I'll let it go when I get a profit.
But you really like to trade those
Yeah,
knives?
I can trade in anything as long as I'm making some money.
Yeah, you asked $10.
The last I saw of Granny Brown, she was doing some fast talking, trying to trade one of her knives for a red vase, and I'm sure that she came out on
Trade
top.
with you, and you give me $10 to beat.
Miss Rebecca, what are those, gardenias?
Gardenias.
They
and don't
are-
they smell good?
You're finally
Give-
going to get one.
Give Miss Rosie
Aren't
one.
they great? Let me have one of
Rebecca.
those things, too. Tell me about these flowers.
Well, I have a large bush, and everywhere I go, I take a pan of gardenias with me because I know everybody loves to smell them. Aren't they pretty?
Oh, they're beautiful. How many gardenias do you have on the bush there at your house?
Oh, today I guess got about 100, 150.
100 a day?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that kind of unusual?
Very unusual. Yes, sir.
That is just beautiful. Aren't you glad you shared them with us?
Oh,
Everybody loves
surely
them.
am.
Got that good smell, too.
Aren't they beautiful?
Now, you can grow flowers with a green thumb, but I bet I know something that neither one of you have done before.
What's that?
Crow.
Crow like a rooster?
What else do you crow? Have you ever crowed?
Oh, I've tried to be a bantam.
Have you ever crowed?
Well, I guess it sounded like a real young rooster when it first started learning how to crow.
Okay,
but
let
I
me-
can't crow like a real rooster.
Let me tell you, I went down to Lewisburg, Tennessee to the Senior Citizen Center down there. They were celebrating their anniversary. They have a beautiful center down there. And I ran into 2 ladies and a friend of theirs who really had something to crow about. Mrs. Medeiros, how did you and Mrs. Thompson get started with this crowing that you...
Well, we just got interested in it, you know. We came up here and we got to singing the grandfather's clock, the old clock, you know, stood on the shelf so long.
Mm-hmm.
And the old man died, you know, and then the old rooster come along, and so they decided, well, they wanted me to crow. And I said, well, I'll be found trying.
Mm-hmm.
And so this little girl over here, she backed me up in it.
Now, do
Miss
you all
Thompson.
crow the same?
No, no.
What's the difference in the way you crow?
I'm the young rooster and she's the old rooster.
You're the young rooster and she's the old one. Okay, now, which one of you roosters wants to go first? Come on, stand right out here so everybody can see you. You ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Now, what are you supposed to do in response? She does sound like a young one, don't you? Now, this woman has been standing over here very quiet. Hannah, what do you think about all this?
Well, I was so impressed, I just up and laid an egg.
Think about that crow.
Oh, wasn't that cute?
They're good, aren't they?
Just wonderful.
What about the lady who laid the egg?
She was the best.
Miss Rosa, I'm getting you mixed up now right here at the end.
That's all right.
You've got a song that you're going to play for Miss Rebecca tonight.
Yes, I think it's appropriate for her beautiful flowers she brought us tonight. And, you know, every flower once grew wild. I used to live way down in Texas and see those things growing wild. And so I'm going to play Wildwood Flower.
Okay, let's listen. Very good. How come you didn't sing along?
I can't sing.
Okay, now let's go on a trip, a mystery trip on the Explorer. You've got your gardenias.
Yes.
I've got the fish with the false teeth.
And I'm
You've got
going
the harmonica.
home, sweet home.
Okay, play for us and let's go.
Huell, Miss Rebecca, and Miss Rosa rock to the furniture tune of Morris Warehouse Showrooms. The Happy World of Huell Howser was brought to you by Commerce Union Bank. Use Commerce Union's master charge to operate the 724 Total Banker at Green Hills, 100 Oaks Mall, Rivergate Drive-Up, Donaldson, Madison, Columbia, and Murfreesboro branches.